Welcome to episode 5 of the Passerini Central podcast. I'm joined today by Fabio Passerini.
Hello.
And Luke Armstrong.
Hello.
We're going to look back at the Scunthorpe game from the weekend. We're going to have insight into Callum McIntyre's approach as a manager this season and how he's gone about his business as manager of Chester FC, and then we're going to look ahead to the Curzon game this weekend. Right, so first of all, we're going to discuss the Scunthorpe game. How did you both think it went for Chester?
It's one of mixed emotions, I think. Look, before the game, coming away to a team like Scunthorpe, flying high in the league, you would have taken a point. I think certainly Cal and the lads would have taken a point, but you go 2-1 up with the extra man with 20 minutes to go and you'll feel disappointed to not win the game. So it'll be mixed emotions, but I think, again, it's 10 games unbeaten now.
Yeah.
You've got to try and keep that positivity, because, and we were saying this last week, but 9-10 games, unbeaten at this level is really impressive. So
It's good, and like you said at the start of the weekend, if you'd have offered them a draw away at Scunthorpe, they would have snatched it out your hand. But to lose in them circumstances with Scunthorpe down to 10 and quite late on again, it is 10 unbeaten now. But I think 6 of them have been draws.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a bit frustrating seeing how far up the table they could be going, but just keep failing in games that they probably should get 3 points from. Another fantastic performance from Ben Tollett, a goal and an assist.
The impact he's had is
seriously
phenomenal.
galvanised things.
That Spennymoor game last weekend, or the weekend before last, you could see obviously with him not playing, there was a real missed him, and it was Ewan Murray played out there and isn't as much of a natural wide man and didn't really have the same sort of impact, but when Tollett plays, he just brings a completely different dimension. And that finish, it was a lovely, clever finish to the near post, probably fooled the keeper,
and then he started the process for the second goal as well, didn't he, for Chester? Which
most of it was George Glendon, to be fair, but the little layoff did a good job. But since Tollett's joined, I think that's 3 goals and 1 assist, or 2 goals and 1 assist. It has come in 4 games, which is really good. But OG faithful George Glendon scored again. Take no credit away from him. Great goal to battle the defenders and get back up after being tackled to score. But Scunthorpe goals as well were quite good. A glancing header just beyond Will Stanway, not much you can do about that. And second goal,
got to get out to him quicker for me on the edge for the second goal, but it's a good finish, to be fair. Not sure there's much Stanway can do about it. So.
Yeah, a bit too much time on the edge of the area. It's cost them really. Silly mistakes, but I think they can be pleased overall with that performance, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Earlier on in the week, I went down to the training ground to interview Callum McIntyre to discuss his promotion aims, how his coaching style has been over this season and last season, and his new addition to the club, who he's just recently brought in on loan. So today I'm joined by Callum McIntyre. The first question I wanted to ask you is, with this season, did you approach it any differently to last season?
I think we had a bit more continuity. So when the beginning of last season, being new in the role, not really inheriting much, a handful of players that we'd retained from the year before, but there was nothing in place. We were moving to a new training model. We were, like I say, retaining that small group of players, but there were a lot of new faces to the club. There's very much you're trying to form, yes, your group and your team, but a way of doing things, and you're trying to establish that. This year, you will have felt like you're starting from a better position and a more forward-facing position. Stuff is already in place, but it is still a new group and it's a new season and new objectives. Even if those objectives are the same as they were the year before, they're new to this group and with a couple of new faces. So I think we're in a different place. I think we started, like I say, the word I'd use, we had a lot more continuity. We had a level of continuity that probably meant on paper we'd have wanted to start better than we did. But I do think, the positions, the summer before the season, 22-23 compared to now, I think they probably were significantly different.
And with 9 games left of the season, do you have a points target that you're aiming for at the end of the season?
So at the beginning of the season, we'd have wanted to be on 70 points after the 42nd game. So the way we set our points target, 70 is in and around what you would need for a playoff finish. Last year, 70 would have actually got us third, because fourth place, the position below where we finished, we were third with 84 points. Fourth ended up with 69 points. Sometimes it's lower, but in the same way, sometimes it's higher. So we try and do our points setting over 7 blocks of 6 games. So after game 42, we would have liked to have 70 points. And what that means is the situation as to you will know with a bit more clarity what you actually need. And we call the last 4 games of the season business end, where fundamentally, what do you then need? So I'm looking at a points target by the end of the season. I think we will need 72 points for a top 7 finish. It could be more. There's some variables. I just think, as tight as it looks at the moment, a lot of the teams in that situation have to play each other, and naturally someone has to, at least one, potentially both teams, drop points. Yeah. So that's the points target where we're at. For us, we want to make sure we're getting as close to 70 points from the next 5 games, to then see where we are going into the last 4, which start on Easter Monday.
You've just signed Kieran Burton on loan from Hartlepool. What will he add to the squad with the remaining games of the season?
So we've operated without a left-sided centre-half in a back 4 all season. So generally in a back 4, we would use Kevin Roberts, Liam Edwards, Matty Williams, Harrison Burke at centre-half, all right-footed players. Nathan Woodthorpe, when we've used him at centre-half, we've done it in a back 3, and playing as a centre-half in a back 3 is immeasurably different to playing centre-half in a back 4. And we then have the option where we can play Kieran as a left wing back or a left back. So what does he bring? Versatility first and foremost. Being a left-sided defender ticks a box that we haven't ticked all season in terms of a back 4. But his attributes are athleticism, aggression, having played a significant amount of games even for a 21-year-old. That for us is really important. That I just think he will add to the group in general, which that's where we're at the moment. Of we'll do business with players where we're able to add to the group and improve the group. I don't think we're desperate. We haven't got gaping holes. We're not in a position where we're scrapping at the wrong end of the division. But when the opportunities come to improve the team, the squad, the group in general, I think we'll always act, and Kieran is certainly an example of that.
Would you have a message? What message would you give to the fans with 9 games left?
I would say that we're in a fantastic position to give ourselves the opportunity to achieve what we want to achieve. At the start of the season, reference your question earlier about the start of last season, I don't think anyone tipped us for a playoff finish. It was an aspiration because Chester Football Club should be looking to get promoted. But at the start of the season, where we ended up finishing 3rd, I think finishing 3rd, qualifying for the playoff semi-finals automatically, I think was above anyone's wildest dreams. What that creates is an expectation that you look to improve, because every football club has to be that way, and you have to look to improve the year after, the following year. I really do believe in that. But for us, a lot has got to go right for us to finish above those teams, perhaps with more resource, with more experience, all those things that are out there and make it competitive. My message to the supporters is, I think what you saw at Scunthorpe in terms of the crowd, the away following, the support for the team, that's what we need from them. I was really, really proud of the club on Saturday. There were aspects of the performance at Scunthorpe that frustrated me, but I was proud of the result. Even probably not as pleased with how it came about, having led twice, playing against 10 men for the last however long. But what I saw was the best version of the club, which is big, vocal backing, unwavering support for their team. And I believe that can play a part in the next 9 games, because you look at who we have to play, who has to come to us, where we have to go. There's some massive, massive tests. And that points target that I've referenced, we can't just walk into. We're going to have to work very, very hard to get that. My message to the supporters is, be with us, play your part, and we can achieve what we all want, which is, firstly, that playoff campaign being achieved, and secondly, promotion from it.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Cal. Thank
all
you.
Good.
So we've just heard what Callum had to say. What did you both make of what he had to say?
I think, first of all, it was interesting to hear him talk about the difference between the start of last season and this season, having that extra continuity. And that's probably why, like I say, I'll be disappointed with the start that they made, because it was a shaky start. You know, that 2-0 defeat to Bishop Stortford at the opening game of the season, you know, will have knocked the confidence quite a bit. But I think we're seeing now, as the season's gone on, as we've got further in, that continuity coming into effect a bit more, and I think you can see that this is a very settled group now, and the results are starting to come from that. So.
And I think it was interesting hearing him talking about how they have targets for like the blocks of 6 games. So obviously they've got the full total of games over the season. They put it into blocks and have like a points target for each block of games that they've got. I think that's quite a good way to look at it because then he can, after those 6 games, obviously if they haven't hit their target, he's able to analyse why they didn't hit their target going into the next 6 games. And I think the target that he set for the team, I think he said it was like around 70, 72 points. I think with the remaining games, I think it's definitely achievable for them, 100%.
It certainly won't be easy because there are some tough games. They've got to go to Tamworth,
but we know they're capable of it, aren't
we?
To
Chester, yeah. There's certainly some difficult games, but I think it's a very doable tally. But as well, they won't want to stop at 72. It's very much, look, can we get that 3rd spot, because that'll make a huge difference come the end of the season. Going straight into that semi-final with the home tie would make all the difference. So it's got to be full gas right until that Darlington game, the last game of the season.
What did you make of his message to the fans at the end? What did, because obviously he emphasised that he needs the fans to be together with them and be vocal and loud. What did you make of that?
I think fans play such a key part in football, and I think Chester fans more than any have proved this season that doesn't matter home or away, they'll back the boys to the final whistle. Especially that Scunthorpe game, it brought the record, didn't it, for most attendance in the National League game,
regular game and playoffs.
And playoffs, yeah, when they took over 1,100 fans, I think it were.
I should probably say I don't think it's the playoff. I think it's just the regular season. It's Halifax who have that, so Ben will shout at me if I don't mention
is
that.
it?
So, yeah, but regular season's still very impressive.
Yeah, it's very impressive. And the inclusion of some more squad depth going into the last couple of games is massive, I think, at this level. For someone with that versatility to play left back, left wing back and centre half, to fill in gaps and potentially fight for first team places, it's just what you need at this late stage of the season. Some fresh legs, some new ideas and stuff. I think it's a good idea, really.
Looking ahead to the Curzon game, would you say it's a must-win for Chester, or would you say they just need to look to get a result?
I think it's must not lose, certainly. And you look at where Curzon are in the league; they're not far behind, just on the edge of that playoff picture. I think if Chester were to lose that game, there would be concerns starting to creep in. But on the other hand, if you go and win, then you're putting more pressure on Chorley and Scunthorpe.
And I think especially when I looked at the table, I'm pretty sure there's only 3 points separating 4th and 7th. That's how close it is. Like tight, one loss can drop them out of the playoff spots near enough.
The margins are going to be so fine, and that's, I think, the frustrating thing about some of the recent games. The Hereford game, the Spennymoor game, even Scunthorpe. That could have, on another day, those games all could have been 3 points, and it's just frustrating that they haven't quite been able to hold on. Curzon at home is certainly not an easy game, but if you win, then it starts to look, you're starting to say two more wins, a few more draws, and you're at that mark of points that you wanted. So, certainly a big one Saturday.
Yeah, I think Curzon's a tough game, like you said, only 4 points away in 7th place, but they have only won one of the last 5 games, and their only win came in the last game in a 93rd minute winner, so they're not in the greatest of form at the moment. Something Chester can certainly capitalise on. If they can break this rut of drawing more games than they're winning at the moment, then they should be alright, really, because Curzon are in a bit of a downfall at the moment. But yeah, it'll definitely be a tough game. It's National League football, anything can happen, really. But like Cal said, with the fans on their side as well, the home game coming into his last 9 games of the season, they could certainly make the difference. But yeah, it'll be a tough one. But I'm confident.
Quietly confident.
Quietly confident.
Our usual final segment of the podcast is discussing who the Walley of the Week is this week. So I think we have one pretty main contender and then some honourable mentions.
Including the person in the podcast booth next door who will not stop singing.
And it's very irritating, but we'll move on from that.
So Fab, do you want to discuss who the main person is who we've picked out for this week?
I think, personally, strong contender for me. Liam McAllinden. I hope I pronounced that right. Sorry. Got sent off for Scunthorpe against Chester this weekend in a horrible, rash, studs up, late challenge on Harrison Burke. He's only played 5 games this season, scored in that game and then got sent off. But Chester fans will be happy he got sent off, considering he spent the last 3 seasons of his career at Wrexham. So, bit of sweet feeling there for Chester fans.
And who would you've got an honourable
No, I
mention?
think I do like that shout from Fabio. I think that will be our Walley of the week.
Yeah,
but I want to mention Rio because he's been in the limelight in recent weeks. You know, he's had a few.
He's had a few Walley of the week.
He's had every Walley of the week
awards,
so
hasn't he? Yeah.
But he's been very well behaved this week. You know, aside from falling down some stairs at Scunthorpe, which wasn't his finest moment. I don't think he's done anything, to write home about. I think so. I'll mention Rio for falling down some stairs, but. He's not winning it this week, so well done, Rio. You've gone a week.
You've avoided it this week, yeah. But to be fair, it's Rio. We might do something next week.
You've always got to be prepared for Rio. We had a big night on the town on Wednesday, and he was at his best. So you can never rule out a rash moment from Rio.
We should start just calling it the Rio Award at this point.
Yeah, it's not even Walley of the week. It's the Rio Award, yeah.
But
I think that shout from you, Fabio's got to take it. The Wrexham history.
Yeah, the Wrexham history.
Past.
Yeah, I played for Halifax actually as well.
There you go, Phil.
Ben
there you go.
Ben will like that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so shocking challenge. I think it deserves Walley of the week.
So thank you for listening to episode 5 of the Cestrin Central podcast. I want to thank Fabio and Luke for both joining me
It has
today.
been my pleasure.
We'll have probably a couple of podcasts coming out next week. They'll be on a few different angles from different people. There'll be different guests that they'll have included in each of the podcasts. Again,
we'll look back at the Curzon game and we'll look ahead to what's another big game against Tamworth.
Yeah.
And after.
Yeah, and I'm going to look to get an interview with one of the women's players after their game at the weekend as well. Hopefully.
So there's a lot of interesting stuff that will come on ahead. So keep an eye out for podcasts that are coming out on our website and on
don't
YouTube.
Forget Walley of the week, of
yes,
course.
It will be returning.
Whether it'll be Rio or not, that's
yet to be answered.
There's a good chance. He's the bookie's favourite.
Yeah, there's probably a 99% chance now, isn't there? Just this week, he was lucky to avoid it. So, thank you very much, everyone.